Watch Jefferson climbs the ladder. Oh my goodness! Come
Welcome one, welcome all. I am joined by two amazing guests today. I got Kurt Jones and I got Snyder as well. Snyder, we just recorded our CFB preview show for the entire season. We went up over all the conferences, all the Power 5 conferences, and Snyder had some really good bets that I was able to place last night when I was in Ohio. I backed some Penn State. I backed some Florida State as well, and then I also got a few of our best bets that we basically did a whole show on. So it was a lot of fun. And Kurt, how are you doing today, man? I saw that you got the playbook up. You know, it seems like it could be a Sam Ehlinger day. So, I'm always happy to hook him. But how you been, man?
Good. It seems like a pretty cut and dry slate as far as playing time goes. At like running back and then receivers, like it's another attackable room. So I guess the only way to really get different is the flex spot and the quarterback spot. So excited to talk about it and go through it with you guys. And another awesome jam-packed weekend of sports. I'm so excited to get started.
Oh, I know. Hey, speaking of jam-packed, the Saturday night where college football is back, baby, and I can't wait. I know Snyder's going to put up some cores, and it should be a good time. Snyder, how are you doing, man?
Yeah, I'm doing good, man. Excited to dive into this little two-gamer we got tonight, and then the weekend can't get here soon enough with the CFB finally kicking off, so definitely excited for that. Interested to see what you guys have planned here. I think it is kind of cut and dry, like Kurt had said, from what I'm seeing, but interested to see what you guys have to say as well.
Yeah, I think it's going to be interesting. I know, Kurt, you just talked about, flex spot, maybe that last receiver spot. I do like the fact that Will Mallory is on the slate at tight end, so I might be intrigued by that a little bit. We'll go position by position. Obviously, we know the teams here: Steelers, Colts, Falcons, and Eagles. Simple 4 teams, 2-game slate. I do want to kind of go over the quarterback position to start, obviously. And Kurt, you listed Sam Ehlinger as the top projected quarterback today. I'm very happy to hear about that. Obviously, he's got mobility. He's got, he can run the ball. He ran the ball effectively last week. He got there just entirely in the fourth quarter. I think he got 16 fantasy points last week.
Mm-hmm.
And it just goes to show, another year under his belt too. Maybe he just improved over time. But is he your clear-cut number one today, Kurt?
No, it's honestly, with the news that came out, it might be, honestly, Kenny Pickett. We might go another starter.
Kenny Pickett. All right.
It's going to be close because the Colts announced that Anthony Richardson is going to play. So then I don't know. It's a half of Kenny Pickett or a half of Sam Ehlinger. It's basically it's going to be close. And so why not just go with Kenny Pickett? This offense I got to watch a little bit of them when I went to the Bucs game. They look pretty dialed. So we just saw what Sam Howell did. Now, I think maybe a series less than that, probably. But I think it's a chance that he sees a good bit of that second quarter. And I think they'll go until they score a touchdown maybe or get close. So Kenny Pickett might be up there. But this is where you can get different quarterback. I'm really going to spread out my quarterback ownership today and keep everywhere else very, very tight like a tiger.
All right. I like it, Kurt. I think it is kind of intriguing for the most part here because I'm looking at Kenny Pickett, obviously, if he plays a full half, you're kind of gambling on if Tomlin's going to play him a full half, right?
Yeah.
Because that Steelers offense has been really effective at moving the ball. Obviously, Jaylen Warren busted out a 62-yard rush last week. But there's been times where it's been Pickens and Deontay Johnson were able to move the ball. This offense is clicking a little bit, and we saw how effective a starting offense can be. We saw it with Sam Howell in that Monday night game. And I know, Snyder, you were watching that Monday night game and it involved your Ravens too. You had the over in that game. Great call, by the way. Do you see something similar happening in Pittsburgh or for Pittsburgh tonight?
I've been watching this game a little bit just from the line movement standpoint. It opened at 3.5 and it's up to 5.5. So I think we could see the Steelers trotting out their starters for the whole first half potentially here. And if they do that, I'll be looking at Kenny Pickett for sure. He'll definitely be in the player pool for me. He's been good when he's out there. He's been leading drives down the field. So I'll have some interest in Pickett there for me. I do like the Philly QB as well. I think they're going to be trailing. They've been letting Tanner McKee play a good portion the first 2 games. I think he's a good contrarian option. I think the other guys will get a little more steam than McKee out there. So he'll be like my GPP type play that I like for tonight as well.
Yeah, McKee. I was a 1v1 over the winner I think last Thursday or Friday. And if it was McKee over Book, I ended up winning the contest. And obviously, I didn't have that. It was kind of tilting because Book obviously was a DMP, and I do think they can trot out Book for at least a little bit there. But if you're saying an entire half of McKee, I mean, he looked really good last time. I mean, he did, and he looks like a solid, competent quarterback. And like you said, Kurt, we might have 3-4 legitimate choices today. I mean, Ellinger, there's a chance he might not get a full half if Anthony Richardson plays more than one series. It could be Minshew leading into the third. So, it could definitely be a slate where you don't have to be super chalk with quarterback. We saw it with Malik Willis last week. He ended up being 64% owned or something like that. And he ended up getting there really late. That took him the entire, first 3 quarters basically. But you won't have that chalk concentration tonight for a 2-game slate. So I do like the fact that if the Pittsburgh Steelers with the line movement trending toward them, I did get them last night at 4.5 too. So I'm kind of happy about that. So I'll be able to middle the 5-point win. But yeah, I think that's a good point. I do think those 3 guys, and let's say we do get some Heineke news, that could be huge too. What were we going to say, Kurt?
I feel like we should probably, I'm glad you brought up Heineke. He's probably going to be my second one. So I'm just going to rank my top 3. I'll probably have exposure to about 5 or 6. My top 3 are probably going to be Kenny Pickett, Taylor Heineke, and then Tanner McKee. Those would be my top 3, but I will have exposure to 5 or 6.
I like it. Are you in agreement, Snyder? Do you have the same top 3?
I'm going to go, Kenny. I'm going to go McKee, and then, I don't know. It's just a toss-up. I think you could maybe even throw – I think there's a chance you could even throw Logan Woodside in there as well or something to get completely different there. But sure. Also, I wanted to say another line movement that I moved out. I posted a bet in the Discord chat yesterday, and that line's already moved 1.5 points. So get on in there and check it out.
Yeah, I was so glad I was in Cincinnati yesterday to watch Messi terrorize my team in extra time. But I did get that Bills bet in. Bills -1. If you haven't seen, we have a basically NFL 20% off for life as long as your subscription remains active. That is for every package, and we have Snyder's picks tracked on site. Since posting the picks here officially on the site, you are 5-0, I believe. So ride the hot hand, of course. I know, Kurt, you gave me some tips on the FIBA World Cup, the basketball World Cup, basically, and gave me some props to choose from. So I do like the fact. Let's go ahead and give one winner right now. Nico Melli under 12.5 points. Is that right, Kurt?
Yes, sir. Under season.
Did that on DraftKings Sportsbook. So enough about FIBA and basketball. Let's get right into some more running back talk here. Obviously, the quarterback situation kind of went over that pretty well. Running back, Kurt, you got 6 names listed. Obviously, the Falcons were really chalk last week. They did a great job. They ended up getting there in a way. And there's not a whole lot of options today with it only being a 2-game slate. Is it just the Falcons and then kind of explore other options? I see you have Sermon rated highly. Is he in line for more work potentially tonight?
Yeah, so I got 5 or 6 listed, but there shouldn't be. There should be 4. It's pretty easy today. Some random dude's going to score like a starter, but if you're playing how I am played preseason, I've been bankroll building. I haven't had a sweat, full transparency, but I've bankroll built. That's all that matters. So if you want to play like me and just bankroll build tonight, there should be only 4 running backs, and the 2 are obvious. You just lock in the 2 Atlanta guys. God, I've been saying it for 3 fucking weeks. Hopefully you all did it last week. You lock in Godwin, you lock in Carlos Washington Jr., and then at the flex spot, I'll be rotating Sermon and Brooks. If news comes out, maybe I throw in someone else in that flex spot to rotate with Sermon and Brooks, or if I hear Penny's going to get longer run or something. But yeah, that's the most simple as I can say it. Getting anything cute is fine, but I just don't feel the need. And I don't even know where we get cute at. Maybe Jalen Warren at running back, I guess, in hopes that Najee doesn't see the entire time with the starters. But yeah, simple. Easy does it, boys. Easy does it.
I will say I'll counter this, and I'll also throw it to Snyder for the same way. The Washington guys both got their last game, and it was Brian Robinson and Antonio Gibson both catching a lot of passes last time out. And not to say that, Kenny Pickett is going to be like Sam Howell and dump it off every time, but, he's done that before. He's done it where he's dumped it off enough. And who knows? I've been high on Jalen Warren all offseason. I don't know if Najee Harris is really going to have that true bell cow role, especially with, all those rumors about injuries and stuff. Snyder, do you have any interest in Jalen Warren tonight?
Yeah, I think he's always a viable candidate here for a spot in tournaments. Such he's got a lot of pop in his step, but he's a guy that can break off a big play. Definitely think he's viable to have in your pool for sure for the running back spot. think it's going to be a majority just kind of I expect what everybody's going to do here. I'm just going to jam probably the top 3 plays in. I'll try and get overweight on those guys and then mix in some other guys like Warren and some of those other guys in there as well. Maybe even look to McFarland there as well from Pittsburgh. He's a guy that could be featured a little bit as well. He's got good hands as well.
Here's what I'm worried about. I don't mean to cut you off, but you brought up a good point. I like the McFarland call, and I think they still want to keep getting a look at him. But I will say this: so you know how Valladay was playing for Houston Texans, right? Mm-hmm. Well, they brought in Xavier Valladay. You know, your boy from Wyoming. Yeah. So they brought him in. Apparently, he's been having a couple good camps. He just now got there last week and saw 18% of the snaps. Do you guys think that has to go up a little bit this week, right? And do you think that leans into some of McFarland's work? So that's my question for you all, because I'm curious. I'm assuming so, but I don't want to assume because it makes an ass out of me.
Yeah, I think it could be either way. I think McFarland's been seeing a ton of snaps, and even like in the passing game, he's seen, I think, close to 20 routes run or something like that. He had quite a few targets in the preseason, so I'll be looking at McFarland some for tournaments, but I think that's definitely in the realm of elements there, for especially in the second half, when I think they're going to have a comfortable lead in this game by the looks of the point spread here, so they could be running the clock out late. But I do like I've been playing just Washington and Igbukwe the last 2 weeks. There's no reason to go away from it, I don't think. What I got Igbukwe for 27 carries and 131 yards through 2 games, and then Washington's been more upside in the passing game. He's got 6 catches off 7 targets in the 2 preseason games. Had 12 carries the first game. Last game, he only had 5 catches or 5 carries, but definitely like both of those guys. And then Trey Sermon, actually, he's definitely fighting for a roster spot out there, and he kind of popped there in the last game. Had 5 for 54 and a touchdown there. He's kind of passing each game too, so he's got some upside out of the backfield as well. So I think Sermon's definitely right there. I don't think Rashad Penny's going to get too much work tonight, but he's got 11 carries through 2 games.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good point. Trey Sermon, he also had a pretty decent catch and run that ended up in a fumble too. You know, obviously that run he had, he broke free, got around to the right side and scored. I don't mind Trey Sermon. I definitely think, you know, him fighting for a roster spot is for another team, because I think this Philly 4 running back system is going to be firmly set. And who knows, maybe the Eagles say, you know what, we don't want any of our main guys getting hurt. Sermon might get, you know, a lot of time in the first half potentially. I mean, that's definitely worth keeping track of the coach speak. You know, we keep it active as well in our Discord, trying to get the latest news. It was very it was a tilt trying to get that Sean Ryan news for the Ravens, Laquan Treadwell, but we were on top of it. Got it right when it dropped. And if you guys want to get into our Discord, aren't already, code NFL20, 20% off for life, as long as your subscription remains active. Yeah, I think you guys have done a really great job. I mean, I do think that the fact that the Steelers line movement, you know, maybe swaying toward the starters getting a whole first half, it has me more interested in Warren or Harris, just because one touchdown can be good enough, especially in the flex spot. You know, we can still play both Falcons running backs. Hell, we could even just, you know, say, hey, I only want one Falcon running back. Just one touchdown can make it. And if the Steelers get 2 touchdowns with that starting unit, I mean, come on now. You'd almost think that it's probable that they're in the optimal at that point. So I just wanted to add that. We'll go ahead and go to wide receivers. And we have a guy I played the first 2 weeks, Kurt, to top the playbook here. So Joseph Ngata, he tops your playbook here. And you also have a couple other Philly wide receivers. Is it Philly or bust today?
I mean, it has to be. Like, they're not going to run these starters out. After the first quarter, you're probably looking at about a 5-man rotation. I mean, maybe less. Like, it depends if Zacchaeus and Watkins, how much they play. Maybe they only play a series or 2. But after, let's say they do play a quarter, which even then is stretching it. You got Ward, Ngata, Devin Allen, Hasselwood, King, Kane. They just signed Freddie Swain. But I'm just going to play the guys we've been playing that they obviously want to keep getting a good look at. Greg Ward, I don't think he really plays that much here, maybe 1.5 quarters. So heavy on Ngata, heavy on Devin Allen, heavy on Hasselwood. And then we saw how involved Kane was last week. If I had to rank it, I'd go Ngata, I'd go Kane, Allen, then Hasselwood. And then if you want to throw in like Ward or King, you can, but I won't be. I'll rank it those 4, and I'll be heavy on those 4. And I want at least 2 of these Philly wide receivers in every single lineup. Don't play Kyrie because he was cut.
Devin Allen, the track star, I think he went to Oregon, I believe. And we have a question from Nicholas Lynn, Sermon or Brooks. For me, it's Sermon, but I do get the case for Brooks there. I don't know if you guys are in agreement or not. If you have an opinion on Sermon or Brooks for Philadelphia's backfield.
I'll go Sermon. I think he's going to redeem himself after that fumble. He's just so involved when he's out there. It's crazy.
Yeah. Snyder, you with it too?
Yeah, I'll go right there with him. Lockstep with you guys right there.
Awesome. So Sermon over Brooks. And yeah, I mean, the Philly wide receiving room, I mean, it does seem like it's thin. I want to say that Zacchaeus got hurt last week and he did go to the locker room. I don't know if it was planned that he play so few snaps. I think that could be a little wrench in there thrown in. I could see Freddie Swain stealing some snaps. So not that it's all roses and daisies. I think I might have a minimum one wide receiver for Philly. I know that, Kurt, you mentioned that.
Who else are you going to target, Rubio? What room you want to target?
Oh, let's talk about Pittsburgh. Snyder.
Okay,
on Pittsburgh with George Pickens and Deontay Johnson.
Yeah, I definitely think like last year we saw that Pickens to Pickett combination work quite frequently. If he's going to get a full a half, I think Pickens could definitely catch 3 to 4 balls, maybe find the end zone once. That'd definitely be enough to hit the optimal there. So he'll be looking at someone that I'm looking at for sure there. Even like Austin, he had 7 targets so far. I think he's fine. I do like Ngata for the Philadelphia Eagles, so I think he's strong. He had 5 targets, caught 3 of them last week. He's definitely up there for me. Ward's got 9 targets so far through 2 games. I think if he's out there, he may catch 4 or 5 targets again like he did the first couple of games. So I think he's definitely fine. I'll be looking at Josh Downs too, some Indy receiver. He was a stud in college. He's caught 2 passes in each of the 2 games. Hasn't done much. He's only scored, I think, 4 and 4.9 points, but he's definitely a guy that I'll have in the pool as well. And then JJ Arcega-Whiteside, he's kind of he's almost like a veteran type guy that's still out here grinding. So I think he's a fine guy that I'll have some consideration for him as well. And Ali, he's had 7 targets through the first 2 games, and then Washington's got 7 targets as well through the first 2 games. I think both of those guys are definitely there. And Malone's 6 targets as well for Atlanta. So they got 4 guys there that you could play, I think, because they'll probably be trailing most of this game, I expect.
Yeah, I know those target numbers. I'm looking all over the slate here. And yes, you're right, Kurt. It is gross. So I think George Pickens, Deontay Johnson, and then Philly wide receivers, they just, like you guys said, with Ngata, especially being the top guy there. And then even like, when you mentioned Zay Malone and stuff, I'm like, man, that's not terrible. 6 targets or whatever in 2 games. If you just get 1 target that goes a long way, even a guy like Josh Downs, who hasn't ran too many routes, but, we've seen his big play potential in college, right? We've seen him, potentially be able to make some noise. And I'm going to throw out a name here that I saw make a big play last week when I was watching the Colts. I know it's a gross one. James Washington, preseason hero, I think. Yeah. I don't know. I'm just going to throw that out there. Made a big play last week. If I'm going to get different from the wide receiver position, I want big play upside. And Devin Allen kind of has that. I don't know if he'll be too different tonight. I think a lot of people are going to be on the Eagles wide receivers, but a guy like James Washington came very close to scoring last week. And I think this almost feels weird to say, but the tight end position this week seems like a little bit better than the wide receiver position in a way. And I think this is the segue to that. I think Pat Freiermuth, he could be the top guy if you see the starters are getting a whole half. Will Mallory, I loved his talent at the University of Miami, I should say. I think there's a little bit of upside at tight end today. Kurt, am I right?
Yeah, for sure. I like the Mallory call. If you're playing Pickett, I don't think it's – if you're playing Pickett, you're really wanting it to be closer, almost a full half. So why not throw in 2 of his pass catchers, throw in Freiermuth, the tight end. Maybe you get you 3 points, which is fine. That's fine for tight end. If you don't want to go that route, I like Will Mallory. There's a couple guys that ran a lot of targets. Let me pull up the playbook to get the exact numbers. But, you're right. I don't really hate it that much. Like Tyree Jackson for the Colts, too, if you don't want it, or for the Eagles. Darnell Washington, who will play with the backups and the starters for the Steelers. I was surprised at seeing how many routes he ran. It was actually pretty high for someone who I basically see as an inline blocker. Pharaoh Brown, John Fitzpatrick ran a shit ton. Connor Hayward, maybe a 3rd quarter touchdown from the fullback. Crazy things have happened in the big field GBPs. Parker Hess, a couple of guys I have listed on the playbook that all have good route numbers, who had a couple targets each game. Yeah, get weird there too. That's another place to get different. I mean, you'd be surprised the fine line of a team, like let's say there's like 5 solid teams at the top. One guy got 0.8 more at the tight end spot, and that pushed him over the edge for the ship. That's probably how it's gonna be tonight.
Yeah, I hear that. Are you with Kurt here, Snyder? I think honestly, I'm looking at it right now. Outside of Freiermuth and Mallory, then there's some other options too. Like it just takes one touchdown. We saw it with Nick Muse and Bruce's team that shipped 50K.
Saw it with Cameron too.
Yeah.
Another guy to look at here is Tyree Jackson. He had 2 catches for 41 yards last week. He led the Eagles in receiving last week as well. I think he's another guy you can look at. But if I was playing one team, I think I'm going to look at Freiermuth for sure, though. If he plays 2 to 3, 4 series, I think he could have 3 or 4 catches in this game as well. Definitely has the highest upside, I think, from the tight end slate. Definitely a red zone threat that Pickett looks to often. Last season he did at least. So I think Freiermuth's my one. I may go with I'm going to go Tyree Jackson 2, and then I like the Will Mallory call as well.
Awesome. Yeah, it seems pretty clear cut. I mean, you guys weren't kidding. It's not a too complicated of a slate. I mean, we know how many of these teams seem to be running out 3 or 4 quarterbacks today, or 4 or 5, running backs, and then like 8 or 9 wide receivers. It just feels like a little bit gross. So attacking the slate with situations that we're confident on is going to be key, and I feel that's the case with the Pittsburgh Steelers. So I wouldn't be surprised to see a lot of my teams have 3, 4, maybe 5 if you include the defense Steelers. So that's a little overly aggressive, but I do think if they play the entire first half, that is more than viable. Let's go into defense talk. I mean, we have the Steelers are the biggest favorite on the slate. Are they your top defense? Because I'll be honest, their offensive line looked horrible last week against the Bengals. And I was like, oh man, like this could happen again. The Steelers could terrorize if they play their first half starters. Kurt, are the Steelers your top defense tonight?
Yeah, feels like the first time I'm playing very heavily on a road defense, but I agree. Like Sam Ellinger is going to be in mop-up duty. He's going to be giving the ball away. I mean, they're heavy favorites. You get like a whole half of the starters. Hard not to like them. And then probably just going to go with the Falcons because you're probably going to get a little bit of Ian Book, baby. And Ian Book's going to turn the ball over and take sacks. So give me some that's how I'd rank them right there. Falcon, the 2 road teams. Look at that.
I like it. Snyder, who are your top 2 defenses today?
It's going to be just what I've been doing so far for preseason, just attacking these bigger favorites, the Steelers and the Colts for sure. Like Kurt just said, we get chances to get turnover-prone plays from Ian Book possibly tonight, so I definitely like the Colts. And then if the Steelers have their starting defense out there for a few series, you get some J.J. Watt teeing off against the Falcons there. I definitely have an interest in the Steelers as well on defense.
Shit, I meant the Eagles, by the way. I got my birds mixed up.
I thought so.
Yeah, I mean, look, you get your birds mixed up. It happens, okay? Birds of a feather flock together, baby.
So I want to mention, for showdown purposes, the kicking situations tonight. So the Steelers have 2 kickers. It is Potter and Boswell. The Eagles have just 1 kicker, and that's Jake Elliott, obviously a huge leg. And the Falcons have 1 kicker with Younghoe Koo. And who's the other teams? The Colts. They also have 2 kickers, right? So 2 teams have 2 kickers tonight. That is the Colts and Steelers. The other 2 teams with Elliott and Koo, they only have 1 kicker tonight. That's for showdown purposes only. I would recommend that right now. So if you're, those are 2 of the grosser teams too, right? The Falcons wide receiving core is not great. At least we know the running backs are super solid. They got Heineke there too. And then you look at the Colts for the most part. And that Colts game, Colts-Eagles, isn't the greatest at all for fantasy. So I could definitely see playing Jake Elliott in that matchup there for showdown. So yeah, we'll go ahead and get into our plays of the day. We basically have 4 teams to choose from. It seems that we're all in the same plays here, so we'll make sure to make it different. Kurt, who is your play of the day today?
I don't want to go first. I'm going to go I'm giving some. I can't give there's so much chalk today. I'm going to. You know what? I'm going to go. I'll make it a quarterback. Let me go Taylor Heineke.
All right, I like it. Behind that offensive line, that'll be an experiment, Kurt. I love it. Snyder, who is your play of the day?
I mean, there's so much chalk out there. I'm just going with Carlos Washington for my play of the day this week.
Come on, Snyder, for fuck's sake.
He's not going to be the highest owned running back, but he'll be up there.
He's going to be 50%. Come on, have some fun. People
don't like stacking running backs. I'll say
everyone be aware. Look, we're giving off the wall plays here because it's super chalky. So don't give Snyder
Off
grief.
the wall would be Josh Downs probably. Just
Boom! I love that. Love it. 2%, 5%. I like that. And you know what? Okay, mine's already crazy enough. I'm good. Rubio, give me something weird.
I get to do whatever I want because I pick tight ends for my.
This is true.
I pick Pat Freiermuth for my play of the day, baby. I want to see some fire.
That's fine. I think he'll be under 20. He'll be under 20, I think, right? Under 25.
You know, if there's wind that the Steelers are playing the entire first half, I would think anything under 35 or 40% for Freiermuth is just fraudulent. I would say that. I would be shocked by that. Freiermuth is my guy. I love his talent. I think just securing a 4-point floor, basically, I think he would be 2 catches and a half easily. And maybe he gets a touchdown tonight. I just think taking the points at tight end is always smart. But yeah, we'll have a great rest of y'all's day. Thank y'all for joining us. Kurt, did you have anything you want to add?
Yeah, I have a question. So when Josh Downs scores like a 40-yard tonight, can I like hop on the back of Snyder for getting that out of him?
Yeah. I'll let you do that.
I got the pat on the back, right?
Okay. 39, it's not allowed. All right, everyone. Have a great rest of y'all's day and good luck tonight. Make sure that you hit subscribe. NFL 20% off for life with any package that Run Pure Sports. Bye-bye.